Hello and welcome to Tuesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where my voice is still a little bit croaky today, but hopefully I'll be able to get through the video. And this looks an incredible puzzle today. Look at this beautiful sort of chromatic festival we've got going on in the grid. It's like one of those pictures of the solar system with planets all in different colours. And it's called Hidden Thermo Sudoku, and it's by somebody called Prutsbeest. Now, I do not know this name, but this puzzle has a bit of an interesting story, actually. It was recommended to us just yesterday. Mark looked at it this morning, and he's immediately sent it to me saying, you just have to do this puzzle today immediately. It is that good. So it's a bit of pressure, but yeah, I'm looking forward to trying it. And it's got a very interesting rule set as well, which I shall read you in just a second. Before that, a big thank you to all those of you who joined us on the Bubba Is You stream last night. We had a blast. It was great to see so many of you from so many corners of the world spend some time with us. I hope you enjoyed our puzzle solving. It was slow in places, a bit brisker in others, but we had a lot of fun. So the other thing I wanted to do is to thank those of you who donated to the stream. It was incredibly generous and we were most grateful. And at the end of the stream, somebody called Boo Boo gave a very generous donation. So Boo Boo in particular, thank you to you. That sort of thing makes a lot of difference. Now, what else do I want to mention? Well, I want to say a word or two about the October monthly reward we have over for you on Patreon at the moment, because yesterday I received a whole bundle of solution videos from some of the setters for that Sudoku hunt. So for those of you who've not looked at it yet, there are about 15 or 16 puzzles in that Sudoku hunt, all themed around lockout lines rules. They are a magnificent set of puzzles. And some of them are very, very difficult and interesting. And we've been just thrilled that we've actually had, as I say, it's probably 7 or 8 solution videos from the creators. So people like Grockles have sent us, and Toolcat and Riffclown have sent us solution videos for how their puzzles work in that hunt. So come the 20th of October, it's going to be an absolute festival of solution videos, and it's going to be quite unusual and a lot of interesting stuff to share with you. So you've still got until the 20th to get your solutions in and be within have a chance of winning the Bubba Is You key, and then on the 20th we'll release all those videos. So times are good. Now let me read you the rules of Prutsbeest's puzzle and we can see what's going on. So we have the following. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Along thermometers, digits must increase from the bulb end. So that's normal thermo rules. And I've been told actually to show you a thermo Sudoku now, so that anybody who's new to the channel and who might not know what a thermo Sudoku looks like can appreciate it. So you can see this is a classic thermo Sudoku. You can see there are some thermometer shapes in the grid, and what you have to do is make sure that whatever digits you put in the bulb end, let's put a 4 into that cell there. Now as we move up the thermometer, we have to increase the digit, like mercury would rise as the temperature increases. So this cell would have to be higher than 4. It doesn't have to be 5, it could be 6 in this instance actually. 6, and then the thermometer would have to continue 7, 8, 9, like that, and that would be a valid way to fill that thermometer. So thermometers can they can go diagonally, they can cross each other, and yeah, I mentioned the cross each other point because of the rest of the rules in Prutsbeest's puzzle, which continue like this. The thermometers in this puzzle, and you will agree with me, this puzzle does not look like that puzzle we just looked at. The thermometers in this puzzle are all hidden. Only their bulbs or their tips are given. Corresponding tips and bulbs share the same colour, and for 2 thermometers only the tip is given in grey and black. Ah, right, okay, so look at this thermometer and this thermometer. They don't have a friend, they don't have a big circle. So all we know about those 2 cells is that they are the end of their thermometers. All thermometers must be at least 2 cells long. Thermometers cannot cross, and different thermometers cannot share a cell. So this cannot cross thing is different from the example puzzle. Here, look, this thermometer there and that thermometer are crossing. Now we can't do that with however we set out the thermometers in Prutsbeest's puzzle. Now the other thing I wanted to mention is that there will be some of you I know who suffer from colour blindness. I myself am a little bit colourblind, but what I will try and remember to do before this video goes live is I will make a version of this puzzle which is colourblind friendly. So it might have capital letters for the big circles and lowercase letters for the little circles or something like that. So there's just another way of visualizing what's going on. Yeah, and apart from that, do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. Let's see what all the fuss is about with this one. Now the first thing I'm seeing, actually I'm seeing two things. Well, three things. There's an awful lot of colour down column 5. So this is sort of a syzygy of planets going down column 5. I was also seeing that there is an awful lot of symmetry in this puzzle. In fact, that's really, really interesting. There is 180-degree symmetry in the sense that if you took this grid and rotated it, let's take this square and imagine we rotated the grid 180 degrees, we would always end up in a coloured cell in this puzzle. So rotate that 180 degrees, you get there. Rotate this 180 degrees, you get there. Rotate that 180 degrees, you get there. So there is an awful lot of symmetry going on. And the only other thing I noticed was that there seems to be more than one pink. There's more than one pink bulb and more than one pink tip. And I was about to say, well, surely that must just join to there. But I was just noticing that you could, in fact, construct a very long diagonal thermometer that would have 9 cells in it. So it could be the digits 1 to 9. Ah, right. No, that doesn't work, though, because of that rule. If we did try and construct this thermometer, you can't join those together without crossing this thermometer. So that's not going to work. Okay, so this one does connect to there, and this one connects to there somehow. But it doesn't have to be a straight line. It could be a wiggle, or it could be a V, or it could be a U or something. I don't know. So there are a lot of ways of connecting that to that legally, I think. Those two are not very far apart. In fact, very few of these thermometers. In fact, how on earth do you start this puzzle? None of the thermos are far enough apart for them to be particularly restricted. I mean, what's the furthest? If that was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, that's not nearly far enough apart for us to know anything about them. This is weird. I'm almost wondering whether Mark has made a mistake here and not given me something, either a rule or more circles. Oh no! In fact, this puzzle's broken. This puzzle's broken. Look, the blue's going to create a wall up the grid. So however I join this blue to this square here, it doesn't matter if I sort of do that, do a curve. There's no way to fulfill both this green and this red. You can't do it. I mean, if I do that, I can definitely connect green to green, but the red is isolated from this red by a wall of non-red cells. And we know that thermometers can't cross each other. So this is not, I don't think this is possible. I think something's gone wrong here. Yeah, I mean, this is even worse. If it goes like that, you can't connect green to green or red to red. If you go like that, no, if you go like that, then you could connect red to red. That could work like that, for example. And you could connect green to green, but only if you can come through yellow or pink, which you can't do. Because as you come down here, you've got to make a decision. Which of these two cells is this thermometer going to visit? And whichever one it is, you've broken the puzzle, because these are definitely not the same thermometer as the green thermometer. Right, okay, I'm going to take the unusual step of calling Mark, I think. Just to check what's going on. 1 second. So we'll give him some grief. Mark, yes, Simon. Right, you sent me a Prutsbeest puzzle to do today. Well, I think something's wrong with it, because there's a problem in sort of crossing the middle of the grid. Right. You're okay. I have to think harder. Okay. Seriously? All right. Okay, I shall do that. Right. This is slightly embarrassing. All right. See ya. Bye. Right. Mark says... Well, Mark chuckled and said, no, I need to think harder. This is not broken. That's quite amazing, actually, to me, and really rather perplexing, because what's wrong with the logic? You can't join this to this without isolating a thingy thing. Oh, no. And if he's right and there isn't a mistake here, he is going to be laughing his head off. There is nothing as funny as seeing one's friend fall off a roof, and that's metaphorically what I've just done there. Am I missing? I mean, is everyone staring at their screen shouting at me? Is there some obvious way that connects to that in a way that doesn't prevent these thermometers from marrying up? There's just no way. It's instantly broken the moment you draw that thermometer in that way. You draw it in that way, it's broken. If you draw it in that way, it's symmetrical and broken. Okay, alright, mea culpa. Right, okay, that is extremely clever setting, I will admit that. That's really very brilliant. Prutsbeest, already, I tell you, take a bow. Because, that is beautiful. That is just beautiful. Right, I take everything back. The key is not to go to that square with such alacrity. You don't want to go to this square yet. You can do these squares, but you need to stop there, and you need to bend back on yourself. Because if you do that, look, if that was how this thermometer developed, sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or something. In fact, there might have to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 thermometer, I think. This green can now connect to its friend by a diagonal thermometer that goes down there. It gets out. But if we continue this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like that, the red one can get out as well and connect to its friend. So it is, that's so clever. That's so clever, and an indictment on my ability to visualize things. But I absolutely love that. Oh, it's symmetrical. It can do either. Right, hang on. It can go either way round. So, yeah, sorry, what I was thinking was it was going to do that, and then 7, 8, 9, which would force the red one up there and the green one down here. But what is wrong, let's delete all those middle numbers, with it doing this. And then the red would come down, and the green would have to go up. The answer is nothing, I don't think. So I don't think we actually know which way round this blue thermometer goes. We do know 1, 2, 3. We always end up on the same 5 digit. The 5 is always in the centre. So these 6 cells are ambiguous. So it either goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 2 and 6 in those squares. Those must be 3 and 7. Those must be 4 and 8. Yeah, okay. This is at least a start. It's at least a start. So now how do we do the 1 and the 9 in the central box? The 1 and the 9 have to go in those cells by Sudoku. Well, one thing we cannot put on the tip of a thermo is a 1, because then the bulb of that thermo will have to be a 0 or less. So that's got to be the 9. That's got to be the 1. Those two squares have got to be 3 and 7 in some order. We've got an absolute proliferation of odd digits in that cross. So we've got to put even digits in the rest of row 5 and column 5. And I can already say with certainty 2 things. This puzzle is barbarically brilliant, and I am looking forward to the comments, because anyone who does this without looking at the video, I'm sure they're going to have the same experience I did, and they're just going to go, no, it's broken, and then we're going to get loads of comments saying you've published a broken puzzle. But actually it's just Prutsbeest outfoxing us all. Now, what can we do next? So we've got a green 9 that connects to a green bulb, but we don't know. But the next lowest, if we think about how this green develops, its next digit is one of those 2 cells, so it's not an 8, it's a 7. So then it could go 6, 5, 4. So this square has a maximum value of 3, so this square is a 2, which is nice. 2, 2, 2 come out of the rest of the row. And I tell you what's interesting now to me is symmetry. So can we just run that logic? Yeah, this is actually really strange. So in fact it's exactly analogous, isn't it? Because if we get, what's the next digit on this thermo after the 1? Well, one of these 2 will be a 3. Therefore one of these 2 has a minimum value of 4, 5, 6. So this square has to be 7 or higher. Therefore this square is an 8. And that's exactly the same logic as we just did on the greens, applied to symmetrical positions. So we're going to have to pay a lot of attention, I think, in this puzzle to symmetry, partly because I don't see anything that's breaking the symmetry. In fact, look at this. It's already the case that symmetrical cells are adding up to 10. These 2 cells are symmetrical, they add up to 10, those add up to 10, the 5 in the middle of the grid. So I think we may have a symmetrical grid situation, which will mean that we have to basically solve half the puzzle and then just apply that logic to the other half by symmetry, and we should get the solution. So let's have a look at column 5. We've got bulbs here, so these should be lowish digits. So can we make these high digits? They clearly can't be 8. They're far too far away from their respective tips. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We can't put 12 in the Sudoku. So we can remove 8 from there. Can we remove 6? 6, 7, 8. Oh, you can. 6 can't go in either. 6. Well, if we go that way. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so we can get rid of 6 as well. So this is a 2, 4 pair, which means these are a 6, 8 pair. So the orange one goes, yes, lovely. Look at this. This orange tip sees 8 and 9. So that's got a maximum value of 7, which surely means this can't be 4. It does mean it can't be 4, because if this was 4, how many digits are there in maths between the digit 4 and the digit 7? How many integers? There's the digit 5 and the digit 6. These are the knowledge bombs you get from cracking the cryptic. Well, 5 and 6, there are 2 digits, but there are 3 columns here that we know the thermometer has to get through in getting from the 4 to the 7. So it has to see at least 3 different digits there, and there are only 2 digits available. So that can't be a 4, that's a 2, that's a 4. 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is at least 6. So this is a 6 or a 7. And I bet you if we try this logic down here, we will find something similar. So the question is, can this square be a 6? If that's a 6, 5, 4, 3, this has to be a 2 or a 1, and there's a 1 or a 2 looking at it. So it's exactly analogous logic. This square here must be an 8, this must be a 6, and 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. So this is 3 or 4 into this square, which might be important. In fact, the other thing I'm just worried about here is that I really haven't... How on earth is this puzzle going to have a unique solution? I've only got 2 more thermometers to use. Well, apart from these thermometers, but I think these 2 thermometers are going to be the most useless thermometers in Christendom. Because these, all we know about these is they are the tip of a thermometer of unknown length. So it could be the tip of a thermometer of length 2, which would mean, well, if there wasn't a 2 here, it would mean that this digit could be a 2. So basically this digit is any digit, because there's a 2 here, it's any digit from 3 to 9 inclusive, which is really rather useless. Similarly with this digit has got to be, can't be a 1 because it's the tip of a thermo, so this digit is anything from 2 to 9, not including 8. Yeah, I don't think the place we're going to get much joy are those 2 digits. So it must be this digit, or it must be this thermo and this thermo. So let's think about that. This is a 4, so 5, 6, 7, right. So this square is at least 8. Unfortunately, I don't think we know anything about how it gets from here to here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, it could do that, could do that, could wiggle. And presumably that logic is analogous down here in the sense this is 6, so 5, 4, 3, so this is 1 or 2. But again, connecting this to this is far from clear to me how that happens. Whoa. This is very, very strange. What on earth do we have to do then? Is it Sudoku? Have I missed Sudoku out? That's possible. 1s have to go up there. Therefore, we should immediately think about 9s in the symmetrical position. So we should do that. We can put 9s in here, which is not helpful. Is there something going on between those 2 then? So this is 2. Its next digit will have to be in those 3. Oh, right, okay. Well, its next digit is not a 4. So this 2, it goes to one of these 3 squares next. But it can't take a 4. Can it take a 5? No. Ah, right. Okay, here is something interesting. The next digit on this thermometer, we know it's not 4 because it's got to be in one of those 3 cells. It's also not 5 because if we put 5 here, for example, we can't keep this down to 7. 6, 7, this would be an 8. So that means that this string of digits here must have a 3 in it, which doesn't help. Ah, you rotten thing. And after 3, we've then got to go, we can't stay in here for a 4, so we've got to go over here, but we could go 4 or 5. 5 would still work here because you could go 6, 7. So all we get from that is a 3 here. That puts a 3 down there. So presumably there's an analogous logic that probably applies to 7 in one of these 3 squares. Is that right? So let's think about how the 8 connects to the yellow. So the 8, its next digit is in one of those 3 cells. It's lower than 8, and it can't be 6. If it was 5, 4, 3, this would have to be too low, so it must be 7. And then this square would have to be 5 or 6. But it could be either again. So we get a 7 here, 7 here. So there's a 7 up there. Oh, I see. So we've now got these... Okay, so we've now got a triple here, actually. That's a 137 triple. And a triple here. That's 379. Which means those squares have got to be the other digits. So those squares are 5, 6, and 8. And those squares are 2, 4, and 5. And is that useful? So does that put pressure on the pink digit now? So the pink digit, its next digit is going to be a 4 or a 5. But that still means you could have 2 in either of those squares, just so long as the other one is a 4 or a 5, which it will be. Oh no, this is hard. This is quite tricky. I thought we were going to crack it then, but I don't know that we have at all. So we can't work out the way that the blue goes, can we? So if the blue goes that way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh yeah, no, I see what we've done. Yeah, look at this. This is a 2, 4, 5 triple. That's fixing that. That's an 8. And that fixes the whole of the blue. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So it goes 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now, yeah, now we've made the passageways. We've made the passageways in the blue. This goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the red has to come out that way. And if the red comes out this way, it's heading up towards 8. So there's no way that square can be a 7. So that's a 3. Oh, that square can be either 4 or 5. That square's become a 7. And this must be the path out for the green. So this square can't be 8 because it's got to be lower. This square's got to be lower than 7. So those 3 squares go into the grid. And 7 now is in one of those 3 squares by Sudoku. So we should immediately think about 3s, and we can. It's using symmetry. Right. So can we put pressure on this digit? If that's a 5, there's only 2 digits between 2 and 5, so we'd have to go 4, 3, and that's tricky. Oh! Yeah, in fact that's impossible. Look, if you go 5 in this cell, we now know that there must be a 3 and a 4 connecting these 2 digits together. So there needs to be a green 3 next to this 2. Well, there can't be a green 3 next to this 2 because there's already a blue 3 in the box. So that square can't be a 5. It must be a 4. Sorry, not a 4. What's it? A 6. And if this is a 6, we've now got... Yeah, in fact, you could... Well, I mean, maybe a simpler way of seeing this is you can never put a 3 next to this 2 now. So it must... To connect this 6 and 2 together, we must be using 4 and 5. Oh. Right, yeah, okay. Where does the 4 go that connects to this 2? Well, it can't go in any of those 3 squares, so it must go there. So that's a 4, and that's a green 4, and the green 4 must connect to the green 6, and there's only one cell that can connect them. So that's how that thermometer must look, which is rather beautiful. That gives me a 6 over here, and we can probably run that logic backwards on this square. So let's try that. So the question is, can this be 5? And the answer is no, for exactly the same reason, but this time applied to the 7s. If this is 5, this red needs a red 7 next to it, which it can never have. So that square there must be a 4. It can never use a red 7, so we must be using red 6 and red 5. Red 5 standing by. So red 6 must be here, because it can't be in those cells because of this 6. And now we connect those 2 together using the medium of diagonalness. This is just ridiculously clever, this puzzle. It really is. 6 here gives us a 7 there. So I immediately looked at the symmetrical counterpart, and it does indeed yield results. We can get rid of 3 here, which means we can get rid of 7 there. Okay. Have we cracked the back of this, or are we still struggling? We can get rid of 4s from those squares. No, it's still... I've sort of got this weird pattern in them going across the middle columns and the middle rows, but not actually seeing how to resolve this. So what do we do for our next trick? So this thermo goes 2, 3. Right, it doesn't go 2, 3, 7 because it's heading up to 7 over here. So it goes 2, 3 and its next digit is over here. And its next digit can't be a 5, look. And it can't be a 6 because if its next digit is 6 in this column, there's no digit between 6 and 7 that could go in this column. So this must go 2, 3, it must be a 4 in this column. Whoops, I want to put that in the corner marks, one of those squares. And then, after 4, its next digit is a 5 or a 6. So it can't be a 5 here, so it would have to be... Oh, and it can't be a 6 here. So its next digit must be a 5 in this column. Oh, but bobbins. Then we don't know. The 5 could connect directly to the 7, or it could go via the medium of a 6, which could be in that square. That's ridiculous. So we know this thermometer goes 2, 3 in one of those, 4 in one of those, 5 in one of those, possibly 6 here, possibly not. That's really very complicated. And it's not really taking us forward. And I suppose we have to check that logic works the same way with the 8 down here. So the 8 will go to a 7, and then it can't go to a 3 because it's ending in 3 on the thermo. So it must go to one of those squares, which can't be a 5. So it must go to a 6 because 4 would take it too low. Still got to deal with this column. So it does 6 in this column, and then it can't do 5 in this column. So it must come here where it must do 4 or 5, and it can't do 4. So it does 5, and then we can hide the 4 in that cell. Oh, good grief. But 5 must be in one of those 2 cells by Sudoku. So I must have the same, yeah, I've got the same logic over there, but they don't align, so that's useless. I'm struggling here. I really am. So which thermos have I not... I've just done these 2, so I haven't done the 2 pink ones recently. Oh, so the pink one picks up a 5 as its next digit, but it could be in either of those positions. And then after that, it can't get a 6 in this column because of the 6 down here. So, wow, actually, wow, that is absolutely stunning. This puzzle is a stunning puzzle. Right, let us consider how this thermo develops. Because we know it's taking a 5 in one of those squares. Then we have to think about what its next digit is. Now its next digit actually can't be a 6, because you can't put a 6 in any of those 3 cells, which is where its next cell needs to come from. And that's because of the 6 down here. So its next digit is a 7 or an 8. Well, it can't be an 8, because if it's an 8, we've still got to cross this column to get to this square. So we go 8, 9, 10. So it must be a 7 in one of these 3 squares. Now this is the really interesting point. This can't be 7 by Sudoku. This can't be the pink 7 because it's in a black cell. So it's on a different thermometer. And we can't share thermometers. So that cannot be the 7 we're looking for. This is not the droid you're looking for, or the 7 we're looking for. The 7 must go there. And that's therefore a pink 7. Which doesn't actually tell us where the 5 goes, but it does tell us this is now a 9, because we need to have an 8. In fact, we need to have an 8 in one of those 2 squares, and that's interesting. Oh, nearly interesting anyway, because that makes us ask the question, where does the 8 go in this row? It's not in those 3, it's not there, so it must be in one of those 2 cells, because of these 8s aligning in rows 1 and 2. So... now, the question now we should ask, of course, is can we run this logic in reverse down here? And the answer, I think, ought to be yes, because there's nothing that is preventing that logic from occurring. So let's check. We go 6 to 5. Yeah, it does work. You can't put 4 in this column because of the 4's up there, which actually, remember, these come from the orange thermo. It's ridiculous. So the next digit must be a 3 in order to allow this to happen. It's not there because of this square, which is the same logic we did with the 7. It's not here because that would put it on a different thermo. So it's a 3 exactly there, which means this square is a 1. This square requires the colour of pink. And there's a 2 in one of those squares, and these 2's aligned just as the 8's aligned up here, which means there's a 2 in one of these squares. And now we really are running out of things to look at. How does this resolve itself? It's not this, is it? It's not that. I just don't think it can be that. That can't be a 1, a 2, a 3. Could be a 4. Can't be 5, actually. Can't. Oh, it can't be 6 because of the 6's pencil mark there. Oh, right. Well, I've maligned this black dot somewhat unfairly then. That's really, really smart setting. Because that black dot, I would have bet a lot of money was going to be used at the very, very end of the puzzle to sort of disambiguate a 1-2 pair. Or a 1, that it would have just been used to tell you where 1 wasn't in this box. But actually it's not. It's now forced this to be a naked single because we've got, I'm just going to double check it. It can't be a 1 because it's the tip of a thermo. 2, 3, it can be 4, it can't be 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9. That is beautiful. So that's a 4, which means 4 is in one of those 2 cells. 4. Oh, I've got, yeah, this is lovely. This is lovely. So one of these squares is now a 4. It's now this one. But the more important thing is, the reason we pencil marked 4's in here is that there's a 4 necessary on this thermo. So this is now the orange 4, which actually makes that square an 8 by eliminating, because we just removed the last pencil mark for the 8 apart from this square in box 3. So this square is now orange. Now, to connect the 2 to the 4, we need a 3 in one of these squares, so that's no longer 3. Oh, in fact, there's a 7 here as well, so that's a 1. 3, they all go in. 1, 3 and 7 go in. That square now is the orange 3. Those squares are not 4's. And, wow, okay. Yeah, that's, well, now we keep going. 2, 3, 4, we need a 5 in this column. And the 5 can't be there. You can't connect those 2 directly. So that's the 5. This square comes out. That's orange. This square, can it be the 6? The answer is it could still be the 6. Right, we don't know about that then. That's a 5. That's an 8. That's an 8 by Sudoku. Those squares now are 2, 3 and 6. Oh, so that's not the 6, because the 6 has just been forced into this one of those 3 squares. So this is not the 6. So this ends with the 7. It goes 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Those 2 squares are, they're a 1, 9 pair. That's a 1, that's a 9. 1 lives in one of these 2 squares. 6 is not there by Sudoku. 3 is not here by Sudoku. Those 2 squares are now known. In fact, we can place the 5 now, looking at our pencil marks. This is a 3, 6 pair, so we can place the 3. That's the 6. And these should be a 1, 2 pair. Don't know if I can resolve, but never mind. So, now can we do the... Yeah, oh look, we can do the pink thermo up here now. We know it. We know how it goes. In fact, it goes along the top of the grid, so it didn't wiggle. It didn't do anything controversial at all. It literally just went to its friend in the corner. So should we be able to then prove this does exactly the same thing? The answer is probably yes. So what we'd need to do is to think about this square, isn't it? So this square, which can't be 1, 2 or 3, or 4 or 5, can be 6, which is no surprise. That's the counterpart of this one. Can't be 7, so it's 6, oh, it can't be 8, 6 or 9 into this square. But there should be a way of eliminating the 9, I think. What is that way? I'm not actually seeing how to do that. Sorry, I can't see immediately how to get rid of... There must be analogous logic to what we did up there, surely. How did I get rid of... Oh! Oh, that's actually... Right, sorry. Fascinating thing I've just thought is that the counterpart to this square is this one. Now the 1 was eliminated from this dot by its nature, by its telos. The nature of a black dot, a black tip, is that it cannot be a 1. So we eliminated the 1 from here because of the nature of the dot. Now I cannot do the same thing with the 9 here. In fact, it's very possible for this to be a 9. So I'm now wondering whether indeed this puzzle will be symmetric. Oh no, hang on. Look, I can get a 3 in there. So I've now got a 7-9 pair. Do we know? No, we don't. I was just thinking, can I now deduce which way the 8 goes? But I can't. So I think we've got to look for something else. But what that is, that square can't be a 3. What that other thing is, I really am not sure. Oh, look, I've got a 2 in one of those squares in order to connect this 3 to this 1. And that seems to be pointing at the top of the grid there. So that's nice. That gets me a 3 here. That square looks weak. What can that square be? In the column, from the column logic, it's got to be 2, 4, 5 or 6. And from the row, it sees 2, 5 and 6. That's a naked single. That's a 4. Right, and that puts 4 pencil marked, look, into the same places in box 9 that the 2's pencil marked into. So that is, in fact, a 2-4 pair. Which doesn't actually seem to do very much, but it was quite interesting to find it. Now, oh, can we do the same thing with that cell then? The answer is I'm really not sure. So from the column, we've got 1, 4, 7 and 8. Yeah, we can. That's got... Oh, but that's broken the symmetry. Whoa! I was not expecting this. 1, 4, 7 and 8. Well, we can remove 4, 7 and 8. That is a 1. That's a 1 now. And look, 1 and 4 are in symmetrically adjacent positions. They do not add up to 10. So the symmetry is not absolute in this puzzle. That's really surprising. These squares are now a 7, 8, 9 triple, which means this square is known to be a 6. And those squares have got to be 2 and 9. I was rather hoping they would resolve, but I don't know that they do. Oh, they do, because of the 2-4 pair here. So that's a 9, that's a 2, that's a 2, that's a 6. That's a 9 now, opposite a 4, so the symmetry is well and truly gone. These two squares are a 5, 6 pair. Those two squares are an 8 and a 7, I think, which we can actually resolve. So 7 and 8 go into the grid. That square becomes 9, that becomes 7. Now we know how the yellow thing develops. Yellow must go down to the 7, and then it must join a 6 in this column, and it's not there, look, because there's a 6 here. Oh, and it's not here because the 7 can't connect to this 6. So the 6 goes there, becomes yellow. The 6 bounces back over here and becomes useful. Those go in, those go in. 4 goes in the corner. That square can't be a 9. So we need 7 or 8 here, which must be a 7 by Sudoku. So 7 and 8 go in. 7 and 9 go in by Sudoku. These squares here have got to be, what is it going to be? 2 and 5. 5 here is useful. So 5, 2, 2, 1, 1. I don't like that 5 here. I was about to repeat it. 8s and 9s. So 9 here, 8 here, which looks very good. Now let's just check that we've finished off this thermo. We need a 5 connecting to a 3. And there you go. That is how to solve one of the great, oh no, and that, which does go along the bottom. Okay, so we have symmetry in the pinks. Symmetry in terms of the shape. Oh no, not quite symmetry in terms of the shape of this thermo. This thermo is not the same shape as this one. Wow. It's just amazing to me. It's just amazing. So there is a great deal of symmetry in this puzzle, but it is not perfect. And this is an extraordinary creation. It really is. The trick at the start is just Eureka worthy, isn't it? Because I was absolutely convinced this was broken. Absolutely convinced. And yet it's not. It's completely fair and it's completely a genius puzzle. Prutsbeest, take a bow. Oh, now the other thing I was just thinking is, how do we... No, we don't know. What's the nature of this thermometer then? We don't know. It could be a 2-cell thermo. It could be a 1-4 thermo like that. Or it could be a 1-2-3-4 thermo. We just don't know. So, so these thermos are there to distinguish how you fill in the digits of the puzzle. You can't actually, at least I don't think you can. No, there's too many. You don't know what these thermos look like in the end, which is rather a cute touch. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. What a sensational puzzle. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments. I'm looking forward to reading them already. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.